going now? Can you hear me? Hey, KP Heathen. Joseph Moore. How's it going? I had to restart. It was not, I didn't have any comments and I didn't have any audio. Don't know what was going on. So this is a reboot. You're driving? Okay, well, make sure you're safe. You just getting off of work, KP? I assume you're probably just getting off work. Make sure the kid player is off. I'd have to probably restart it to do that, Uncle Al. I did indicate it's not made for kids when I re-upped it. Susanna Morrison, how you doing? Thank you for coming in, Susanna. Hello, Uncle Al. I do not know what happened. And I'm not a real big techie. So what I did was, when I figured out it wasn't going well, I backed out and I started over. But I didn't get time to key in all the stuff I normally key in. Hello, Gina. Thank you for coming. Are you off on summer vacation now, Gina? You've been putting out quite a few shorts, and I have been leaving comments on them. Hello, Myra. Buying spaces in the house. Thank you for coming. Verna. Hello, Verna. Thank you for like number 5. Everybody, please leave a like to support the channel. I got mine plugged in while I'm using it to look at the text. No, buying is not KP. Buying is Myra. You're referring to KP Heathen. That's his channel name, KP Heathen. Gina is an educator. She's not retired yet. I think she's working on her doctorate. She's a school administrator over in the Philippines. The Philippines are 13 hours ahead, so right now it's like 8 o'clock in the morning over there on a Saturday. Yeah, KP Heathen. He was the first one to make a comment. I started my live stream, and for some reason it was showing me a few likes, but I didn't get any comments. And I got a text from Uncle Al that says, "You're not can't hear your audio." So something's wrong. Something was wrong. So not knowing exactly, I tried to play with it a little bit, not knowing what to do. I backed out of it and I started a new live stream. So this is the second version. This is the second version of the live stream. Hey, handicapped traveler, thank you for coming. It's been a while since I've seen you. I need to come over and give you some love. I hope you're doing well. Handicapped traveler has a wonderful channel. And if you have not been over to his channel, I would encourage everybody to go over and give him some love, and he will give you some love in return. Well, I think I got 8 in the house and 8 or 9 likes. I'd like to say thank you to everybody who's coming in tonight. Multitasking, okie doke. Thank you for some 9. Well, we are 7.5 minutes into the stream, and we started over. So it's about time for me to get started with the topic, because it's right at 7:15. This topic is compliments of Alan Sato, Die Bullfrog 79, and it is on one of my favorite characters and one of my favorite movie series. Matter of fact, the third one is my favorite. But we're going to talk about Death Wish, the original, from 1974. And it stars Chuck or Charles Bronson. And he was a little bit older when he made these. And he's still just a wonderful, wonderful actor. May he rest in peace. I really miss him. Hello, Melinda. Melinda Elliott's in the house. And Betty is here from Pre-Retirement. Pre-retirement days. I will tell you, the 22 channels that identified themselves last night, I basically did a shout out. I linked all of them in my my post today for my live stream. And we have 9 in the house, 11 likes. So back to the topic. Is the movie Death Wish from 1974, the original, starring Charles Bronson. This originally started out as a book or a novel, and it was a Western that was adapted. And, it talks about, it covers tragedy, shock, justice, vigilante justice. We'll talk about that more later. And an avant-garde Western set in the urban setting of New York City. And then Uncle Al said, read the novel. And I have not read the novel. I have all the movies on DVD. Haven't watched any of them in years, but I have them. The third one is my favorite. In the third one, he basically goes and he takes on an urban gang of thugs. You know, well, in this one he takes on an urban gang of thugs, but in the other one it's a lot more gratuitous. You know, it's a lot more. The violence is a lot more gratuitous. You know, as he said, thinning the herd. So anyway, it was originally written as a Western, but changed to the 1970s setting. It starred Charles Bronson in the Western mode. All right, there are some questions. This is a fun question. What is the name of the main character in the movie? And then I'm to give you three choices. John W. Stein is A. Bill Hickman is B. And Paul Kersey is C. Anybody care to tell me what the answer is? Not you, Uncle Al. You'd be cheating because you were the one that came up with the question. Yoda, my friend, and Enrique Trevino. Yoda's Blessed Life. Now, there's another channel that really puts out some good content. I've been watching a bunch of Dave's shorts. He always has good music with them. And a lot of them, he basically does to church music, which is wonderful and beautiful. How are you doing, Enrique? Thank you for coming. And yes, the topic, we're talking about Death Wish. And was somebody gonna, Yoda said B. Handicap Traveler said B. Bill Hickman. Well, anybody else? Everybody think it's B? The movie, the original movie Death Wish, yes. Hello, Little Lone Prepper. Well, the answer is C, Paul Kersey. Charles Bronson plays an architect, a married architect by the name of Paul Kersey. You know, middle-aged, late middle-aged. Yes, Charles Bronson. Man, I tell you what, he was buff back in the days. When he was a little bit younger, he was chiseled. Yeah, it's not often that you're wrong. It's not often that you're wrong, Dave. So Paul and his wife, they returned from a vacation in Hawaii. Everybody wants to go to Hawaii. My daughter, right before she got married, she went with some of her girls. And I guess she had her bachelorette, whatever, with 5 or 6 of her friends in Hawaii. Concerned father, thank you about that. Okay. Paul Kersey is a successful architect. And Paul is a Korean War veteran. So remember, This movie was made right towards the end of the Vietnam War. He's middle aged to late middle aged, so he would have been a young soldier or of age to be a young soldier during the Korean War, which was like close to 25 years before the time of this movie. He was decorated, but he was a medical corpsman. He conscious. He didn't like guns. Didn't like killing things. He was raised by his father, who was a hunter and outdoorsman. Paul disliked guns and killing animals. Both trained in shooting. I never wanted to kill Bambi. I like bird hunting. I like the taste of white wing. Quail's a little gamey, but I can eat it. And I like fishing. I love fish. But I never really wanted to kill Bambi, and I've never killed a deer. I've been hunting with my dad when we'd go hunting, and he'd shoot and he'd kill a deer, but I never did want to kill a deer. And that's my personal, Dave's still trying to get over the fact that he was wrong on the answer. And we got 9 in the house, 13 likes. No, I've never had whale. I like catfish. I like freshwater cat. I like bass. I love redfish, trout. Those are saltwater. Redfish, trout, saltwater. Flounder is wonderful. Really. And they're fun to catch, too. If you catch them on a rod and reel, those are fun to catch. Okay. So, he never carried a weapon during the war. He was a corpsman. Medical, Hope Lang played Joanna, his wife. Tragically, thugs break into the home only to find a meager sum of $7. The thugs assaulted Joanna and his married daughter, Carol Ann. Afterwards, filled with rage, frustration, and sorrow, he escaped being mugged from the hospital by using basically he had a row of quarters that he was able to use, and it makes a good hard, for hitting. Next day, Paul is sent to Tucson, Arizona, for business. So, his wife and daughter are home, and tragically, these thugs break in. The daughter is left severely, mentally, and then the wife is killed. The wife dies. And obviously he's full of rage. If you look in the news, what's going on, somebody hurts your loved one or your child. He's just absolutely, and then think about the police, especially the New York police. No, I have not seen, Sock of Quarters. David didn't read the book. Nope, I guess I didn't know. I did not read the book. And it's been a while since I've watched the movies. And honestly, the one that I keep watching is the third one. I love the third one. So, we got a second question. What was Kersey's family religions? Or what was the religion? What faith were they? Here are your choices. Catholic, B is Jewish, or C is a combined faith. Hey, WD Glock and Roll, thank you for coming. And I will plan on tomorrow in my post for my upcoming live stream that I will do on Saturday, because I'll do a live stream tomorrow, most likely. When I do my post, I will shout out all the channels that are here tonight that identify themselves. So far, I've got 14, 15 channels. And as far as the answer to that question, it was a mixed faith. My parents were from mixed faith. They were considered a mixed marriage. My mother's family is Catholic. My father's family is Baptist. And until I was born, my father's family did not really accept my mother. And they were married for 21 years before my mother had me. She had me when she was 40 and my father was 50. They'd been married for 21 years, together for 23 years before I was born. And I used to hear that story about how she was accepted after my birth. Thank you for coming, WD Glock and Roll. Wonderful channel. If y'all are not friends with WD, I would encourage you to go over and give him some love. So, in Ames, Jan Chile, a former New Yorker and Jewish developer, played by Stuart Margolin, shows Kersey the ropes of the West. Paul witnesses a mock gunfight at Old Tucson and later impressed Ames with his pistol shooting skills. With the job done, Paul Kersey is returning to New York City, but before he goes, Ames discreetly gifts him a nickel-plated .32 Long Colt and a police-positive revolver and a box of ammunition. Well, this is one that Uncle Al had given me. And the thing is, after we get through, and I'm almost to the end about talking about the movie, then we're going to talk about the reality of things. Remember, I started out, and you might not have been here right when I started talking about it, Enrique, but, the idea of tragedy, lawlessness, crime, vigilantism, the police, Washington, D.C., or New York City, a lot of the big blue cities, crime is out of control. And I wanted to get around to talking about what everybody thinks about the moral of the story and about the man who basically says enough is enough and decides to start dealing with problems. Law-abiding citizen. I have not seen that one. So there's a third question. What was Ames' quote for Paul? A, we Jews protect ourselves. B, code of the West. Or C, take care in shalom. Shalom means peace. And the answer to that one, yeah, that's true. When seconds matter, the police are minutes away. That is true. Yes, take care and shalom was what the comment was. Yes, C is correct. Melinda, you got that one. So at this point, we can discuss vigilantism, taking the law into your own hands, or stepping up. There was and I don't know how it came out, but there was an incident on in the subway system in New York City. This young man who had been in the military stepped up and dealt with a irrational, out of control, mentally disturbed individual who was threatening people. Apparently had a history of violence and such. And he got him in a hold and he choked him down. And the man wound up passing. So he was charged with manslaughter. I think he was charged with manslaughter. And I don't know how that came. I'll have to Google it, figure out how that came out. God says we shouldn't take revenge into our own hands. He says we can defend ourselves and the innocent, but not take revenge. Hey, part-time planning, thank you for coming. How are you doing, sir? It's Peter, isn't it? Peter? If I recall correctly, your name's Peter. Thank you for coming. Oh, and the nutcase had a knife. Okay. Yeah. You think about that. Please leave a like to support the channel. 7 in the house. 15 likes. A lot of street crimes. And, a lot of times, the police, they're the ones getting assaulted. You remember the issue with the 4 or 5 illegals that beat up on a couple of cops? I mean, a big embarrassment to New York City. Big embarrassment. They assaulted these police that were trying to deal with this one individual, and several of them came in and jumped on the police. I was looking at all of the protests that's going on. They they're raiding, they're serving warrants on criminal illegals. They're going to court to pick them up when they arrive for court, and they're picking them up. Oh, and they're raising Cain about that. It's so horrible that they're doing that. So then they start calling in and they get the nuts to show up. And then the nuts start trying to attack, they're trying to attack law enforcement. The FBI, Homeland Security, Border Patrol, law enforcement. And I mean, they're raising unholy hell, and they're assaulting them. There was some video of one of the cops got pepper sprayed by one of these thugs. Call them Antifa or what do you want to call them. Call them socialist or, the far left-wing wacko Democrats. We're not talking about normal people. These are the fringe of society, the ones that are like absolutely deranged. Just you can't deal with them. And it was absolutely horrible. Now, Uncle Al does not like me to talk about the past or history or anything, but I'm gonna cite an example. Back during the day, there was a leader in Mexico by the name of Porfirio Diaz. My former father-in-law's name was Porfirio Pilo, and he modernized Mexico. He brought the railroad, he brought the telegraph, he brought in German advisors to train the military. He developed a group called the Rurales, or the Rural Police, like the Federales, with the Rurales were the rural police. And basically what he did was they took the biggest thugs and they gave them badges to go deal with the lesser thugs. Try to clean up crime. Chinese smuggled a fungus into the U.S., tried to clone it at the University of Michigan on a tourist visa. Yeah, I heard something about that. So anyway, in my story, towards the end of Diaz's reign, and he was like president for life. He was probably about 80 years old, and he was losing control, and the socialists and all the stuff was going on. They were having problems, back the revolution in the 1920s, I guess. They had a big protest at one of these bullfighting rings. Oh, all this nuts. Thousands of them went in there. So they're raising hell, having a big protest. Sent the military in, surrounded the place, went in and dealt with them. Went in and dealt with them. Now, what do you think? What do you think would happen here if they sent in a large enough force that when these nuts show up, 150 of them, 200 of them show up, and they start raising unholy hell, you surround them, and they neutralize them. Every one of them. Deal with every one of them. Whether it's dealing with them or whether it's arresting them where none of them get away and ship their butts to Gitmo. What do you think about that? What's that old saying? I'd buy that for $1. $10 in the house, 16 likes. Anybody coming in that I hadn't seen? What was the name of the movie about a serial killer that was killing serial killers? I don't remember that one. Well, Pancho Villa, Benito Juarez, there are several people that are heroes to the lower classes in Mexico. Porfirio Diaz was a hero to the upper classes and middle classes in Mexico. He did a lot to civilize Mexico before the socialists you know. So, and he was a dictator. He was a dictator, but he did a lot for Mexico. And if he'd have had somebody come in after him that could have basically sustained what he was doing, Mexico would be a lot better place right now. And that's just my opinion. Hey, Rachel, mom of four boys, how you doing? Thank you for coming. They're having a lot of problems down in Mexico with the cartels. They apparently killed five members of a mariachi band. One of these cartels. And that's not the first time that's happened. Apparently, from what I understand, some of the mariachi music is pro cartel. They fantasize or they romanticize the cartels. Some of the leadership and members of the cartels, they sing positively about them. Some of the mariachis, and I guess rival cartels are killing their rivals mariachis because there's a big stink about that. They're down there looking for some people, looking for some cartel members that apparently killed five members of a mariachi group. That was in the news. And apparently they've been killing a lot of politicians and their family. I think the mayor of Mexico City and her daughter were killed or were assassinated by the cartels. And there have been multiple assassinations, and there hundreds of thousands of people were killed by the cartels down in Mexico. It's a very dangerous place. Dexter. Yeah, I've heard that name. I think there's a series about that. 11 watching and 17 likes. But the idea is that Kersey becomes a defender of the innocent. He basically fights for the old people, the women that can't defend themselves, the old people who can't defend themselves. And he basically, as they say, thins the herd. He deals with the people who hurt his family. And because he's a real good shot, and they don't have cameras back then. They don't have all these video cameras everywhere back then. Nowadays, you're not going to do anything anywhere because of all the millions of cameras that they have. Just about everything. And, unless you're basically camouflaged from head to foot where you can't recognize any features or anything, they'd figure out who you are in an instant and go hunt you down if somebody was doing that kind of stuff. Belinda's Country Living. Thank you for coming, Belinda. Good to see you. Back to the topic. Well, So there are places where vigilanteism is encouraged. I've listened to some interviews with southern sheriff's departments where the sheriff thanks the individual who dealt with a home intruder or somebody who came upon a crime, pulled out a gun and dealt with the criminal, thanking them for vigilanteism, for doing their civic duty, being patriotic. Mike Crusher Reviews. Hello, Mike. Thank you for coming. You know, there are a number of states where you don't have to have a permit to carry a gun, to open carry, concealed carry. Texas was one of those places. Now you can get a carry permit, and I guess that would be one of Uncle Al's additional picture IDs, because it looks like a driver's license, but it's for weapons. My daughter has one, and bounty hunters, yes. Now, can you imagine I've heard that there are some bounties, or that there's a price on Putin's head. There's a price on X's head. They have both had multiple assassination attempts. And like a hit. They put a hit out on somebody. And how many times did they try to assassinate Hitler? Good God Almighty! The Germans trying to kill Hitler were so incompetent it was not funny. Anyway, so the idea is justifiable use of force against, like, a lot of times, like, somebody goes in and they're armed and they want to go rob convenience store. They got a gun, and then the cashier, the person behind the counter, pulls out a short shotgun or a pistol, and they get into a shoot and shoots them. And I've seen a lot of video of incidents where somebody's trying to break into a house or some such, and there's cameras, and these idiots get through the door, and all of a sudden you hear pop, 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 and they take off running, and a couple of them got shot and they wound up at the hospital, and then they get them, or they get shot and they die. That happens more often. Thumb 19, thank you. Yeah. They get shot and somebody dies. They bleed out. Vigilantism is right or wrong on street crime? Is it right or wrong on street crime? Well, I tell you, I know a bunch of people my age, older than me, younger than me, that carry. I'm in a fairly conservative area. It's got very good law enforcement. We've got Department of Public Safety here. We have Sheriff's Department, Police Department, constables. And there's not that much crime where I'm at. I mean, the other side of town, there's a little bit. Some things happen occasionally. Things happen occasionally. And it's a very conservative place, very quiet place. For a community of 65,000 or so. And there's a stand your ground. I mean, you don't have to run from somebody if you feel like your safety or somebody you're with their safety, or you see a crime happening where force is being used. You know, I mean, in my life, there have been several occasions when I could have shot somebody and I chose not to. And it would have been justifiable. Had some people, teenagers, try to break in our house. They broke through a screen door into our kitchen. I met them with a pump shotgun chambering around. You should have seen the look on their face. I could have splattered 3 or 4 of them. I chose not to, because they took off. Now, if they had kept coming at me, yeah, we'd have had to remodel the kitchen. You know, and I could have done that, but I didn't. And that's just one occasion. You know, and you have to make it. You have to. You know, at the time, you got split second call. You got to think about it. You hate spell check. I hate spell check too. Holly Ivans, thank you for coming. Got people checking in. There are other live streams going on right now. And I'm sure people coming in late, having been visiting other folks. Which I will probably do when this is over. 13 in the house, 19 likes. Let's see if we can get to 20. Well, Mike, when are you going to put out some new content? Minecraft. I've heard the kids talk about that. I really don't do games like that. Remember back in the day, Pac-Man. Ping pong and Pac-Man. $11 watching and 20 likes. Thank you, Uncle Al. 12 watching. I will link everybody tomorrow that came in and left me a comment. At least identified themselves. Like, my live stream yesterday had something like 90 people come through it. And I had 22 that actively participated. But I had over 90 visits. A lot of lurkers. I need to go through on my notebook and I need to pull back a lot of blue wrenches from folks. You give people blue wrenches, and they basically use it lurking and trying to poach and just try to find, they want to try to find new subscribers. So they reach out. They really didn't participate in your live stream. They're just there to reach out and try to. And I won't do that to people who regularly come in and comment. Uno, no, I don't really care for. When I was a kid, I used to play bridge. Used to play 42. Chess, checkers, Scrabble, Monopoly. Back in the days. Yoga, you still there, Dave? Yoga. Oh, Pac-Man. Yeah, that would have been back, I guess, in the 80s, maybe. You've been cooking. I'm sure it's been good. You're cooking some good food. I made burgers today. I uploaded. I showed some footage of, me cooking a couple of patties early on. Oh, to tell you, they were dark when I got through with, but they were, that was early in the process. Had a few seconds I showed of that. My wife's always saying, "Don't make them raw. Don't worry, I'll burn them. They'll be nice and dark." She doesn't like any pink at all on anything. I understand, Holly. Take care of your husband. Are we all needy? Well, I guess. I'd let my channel rest for a month, this main channel. So there's not that much up on this channel like since I come back. I only put up a few shorts. I put up a couple shorts every day. I think 3 shorts today. I was looking at it. Yesterday's shorts did a lot better than today's shorts. Today's shorts, I think I put up 3 shorts and they're a little over 1,000 views for all 3 of them combined. Yesterday I had something like 48 hours. I had something like over 6,000 views. And I'd put up a couple of shorts yesterday, a couple of shorts the day before. Not that many, but they're getting a lot of views. Please explain what good is doing live stream. What good is doing live stream? Oh, just an opportunity to talk to folks. There are people in here from all over the country. I mean, there are people here from, other places. Hillbilly Josh, thank you for coming by. Hillbilly, I'm sure, is just getting off work. Got to take care, got bills to pay and children. Now, I know you've got a son, Josh. Do you have more than one? Or is it basically your boy? He's got a good-looking young man, good-looking kid, young boy. And he's a good supporter. He's got a good channel. I think Josh is up to about 1,600, And if you have not done so, go over and give him some love. He does some good shorts. 1645 or so. Yeah, I'm working on trying to hit 2,000. And we were talking about Death Wish. Ohio. Been talking about Death Wish. I made taco crunch wraps. My grandsons loved them. I bet you they were good. I bet you they were good. Does sound delicious. So I will be linking all of the channels tomorrow in my post. I'll link up everybody who came in tonight and identified themselves. Sure, there's a bunch of lurkers out there. I would encourage you to be nice and say hello and leave a like. Hey, take care, Hillbilly. Enjoy your shower. I could use one this evening. I was out working in the yard earlier. $14 watching and 22 likes. We are going on 56 minutes into the stream. And again, we are talking about the movie Death Wish and the idea that the long spew of telling the story of Death Wish. And Charles Bronson's one of my favorite actors. He starred in the series. And my favorite one is Death Wish 3, where he basically just deals with gangs of thugs. They're just terrorizing the community, you know. And he goes and he deals with, and then he works with the police and to deal with these thugs. They look the other way as he thins the herd, you know. Anyway, so in this movie, the tragedy of his family, the horror and the tragedy of his family, you know, being just, you know, what they did to his wife and his daughter. And then all the rage in him, the anger and the rage. And he just basically, he just decides to take it into his own hands and deal with them. And he starts dealing with criminals, thugs, and eventually gets the ones that, you know, brutalized his family. Yeah, I liked Charles Bronson in The Mechanic. And let's see, he had a young apprentice. What was his name? Another good actor who sadly passed on. You know, we're talking, all this stuff is like close to 50 years old. All these movies and everything's close to 50 years old. I was barely a teenager when that stuff was, you know, was coming out. Oh, we got folks greeting everybody, saying hello. So if y'all would, give me suggestions for topics for tomorrow. Dave, my friend Dave, was going by Yoda. He says, when am I going to do my rant live stream? Where I just let it go. You just talk about all the, you know, I talked a little bit about some of the stuff going on tonight. You know. And just all of the outrageous stuff happening around the nation. And a lot of it's happening in those places where, you know, the left is in control. A lot of stuff's happening where the left's in control. Crime. The crime is worse in those big blue cities. The big blue cities. Where they want to defund the police and they don't want the police and they don't want to prosecute. You got these liberal, extreme leftist DAs that they don't want to prosecute anybody. They don't want to, you know, they don't want to deal with criminals. They want to give them a pass. And that's where, places where you see vigilantism, like that kid here a few years ago with the AR-15 that shot and killed a couple of Antifa thugs. Shot a third one, didn't kill him. 2 out of 3 he got. The third one lived. But what they do? They put him on trial, and he was found innocent. But look at all the grief and all the stress that he went through. All of the money they spent to prosecute, like the subway, the military guy, the ex soldier, who saved all these people from this thug, and they wanted to get him for manslaughter, and they tried him. And I don't remember how that came out. I don't think he was convicted, but I need to go and look at that. Got to go back and look at it. And Uncle Al lives in California. No air conditioning would be rough. Grid down prepping, yep, that would be rough. It's like 105 there. God bless you, Alan. Yep. Get a foot long and get half of it. That's a good deal. Uncle Al lives in a socialist republic called California. I was watching some video today. They've got a couple of refineries out there that are shutting down. And that's like 20% of their gasoline. They're shutting down because of the regulations and because of all the crap. There's so many companies and corporations that are leaving, major operations that are leaving California. There's a lot of money moving out of California. They're already at spending deficits and debt, and they're losing their income. Just stupidity. A solar AC, yes. Bouge RV, there are some companies, Blue Eddy, Bouge RV, that sell the little portable units. You put a duct out the window, and the unit's inside. You put a duct out the window, and yeah. And you run it with you can run it on solar. You got enough solar panels. You got enough batteries. Lithium iron. You can drain it all the way down. It won't hurt it. I like Power Queen. I've got multiple Power Queen. Those 100 amp hour. 100 amp hours 100 amp hours is 1280 watts. That you can burn 1280 watts for 1 hour. That would be a 100 amp hour battery. Well, we are over our hour, and I appreciate y'all coming. I've got 20 channels that came in tonight, identified themselves, and I am going to link all of them in my post tomorrow. And I will be most likely I will do a live stream tomorrow at 7. If it doesn't go that well, it'll be less than an hour, 30, 45 minutes. But I try to do an hour. And I could keep going, but I'm not, I'm tired. I'm taking more medication now. I ordered a new pill caddy This one's like once a day, and I need like a twice a day. And actually, so I've got one coming in. It'll be a mail call Sunday. I'll show it to you when it comes in. I ordered some more headlamp lights for my wife. I ordered another 2-pack of the rechargeables. And they should be in the next couple of days. It'll be a mail call from Amazon. I went to the post office to complain about problems with my... Thank you, Uncle Al. God bless. I went to the post office to complain about problems with my mail delivery. I brought some mail that was not mine. Same... similar address, but not mine, you know. And went and talked to one of the supervisors. He didn't look too happy. And, you know, it is what it is. So anyway, every morning I get up, I drink my coffee, and I had one very early in the live stream. Finished it, drink my coffee. I take my medication, get right with, you know, I say my morning prayers, Lord's Prayer. I try to get right for the day. And then I go about my business. I live by the Boy Scout motto, or the Scout motto, which is be prepared. And I was a scout for a couple of years before my father passed. And, you know, I say be prepared. You know, are you prepared? It's hurricane season. It started June the 1st. It'll be going on until November the 30th. We'll talk some more about that. In the meantime, yeah, mailman jokes. Yeah, it's like those Aggie jokes. You know, I could tell you a few of those too. Anyway, thank y'all for coming. I will link y'all, those 20 of you that came in this evening that identify yourselves. I'll link you on tomorrow's post, and I'll probably have a couple of good pictures up. I appreciate everybody who supports me. I support you. Remember, be prepared, and have a blessed day. I appreciate everybody. Thank you. Good evening. Bye-bye.